Hello, I'm Don, and I do art. I've been doing a lot of art every day for a long while. But in 2021, I came up with an idea for a comic that blew out of proportion, becoming way too big. Became way too big, but I decided to work on it anyway, despite the fact that I've never done a comic aside from a few ditched pages and a few mini comic strips. And one of the biggest mistakes that I did was commit way too hard to this comic. I stopped drawing normally, and basically every second of free time that I had was poured into this comic work. And because of that, I lost a lot of my traditional art skills that I had worked up. One of the skills that I noticed deteriorate was my poses. I noticed my poses were looking a lot stiffer, something that I had worked a lot of hours to get rid of. I was pretty disappointed in myself, to say the least. Now, what would have been the best thing to do in this situation once I had noticed that this has happened? A. Realize that I was focusing too much on one thing and back up and go back to the fundamentals again. B. Start doing gesture drawings more often so that I can get back into the flow of poses and so that they aren't stiff anymore. Or C. Get rid of the second sketch layer and work off of the bare bones sketch so that my lines are as fluid as possible. C is definitely not the right answer. A and B are great solutions to this problem, although C will cause a lot of problems to you in the long run. And what did I do? I did C like a complete fucking dumbass. My thought process was pretty simple. I thought the reason my poses were stiff was because I was relying too much on the second sketch layer and was focusing more on tracing over the lines instead of actually drawing. So, working on a looser sketch seemed like a good solution to the issue. And to my credit, it did actually work pretty well. My poses did become more fluid and loose, and this did loosen me up and even speed up my drawing process. The biggest way that I kept this fluidity was by making my line art this like a sketch itself. However, this is a fucking horrible habit to have because I didn't actually solve the problem. Sure, my art looked more fluid, but the main reason was because it was sketchy. My fluidity was just an illusion. Underneath all that sketchiness was a pretty mediocre, stiff drawing. I definitely should have stopped sooner and taken a lot more breaks a lot earlier, but I didn't do that at all. But you may be saying, that is if you read my comic at least, but Don, you've had multiple hiatuses. Surely you took the time to focus on your skills and fundamentals to help the growth and look of your comic. And well, no. As I said before, I'm a dumbass. One thing I misinterpreted about taking breaks is that what you're supposed to do during breaks. For one, I did take a few days off to a week of each hiatus to completely stop drawing altogether and rest my hand and my brain. The issue is that I would jump immediately back into full pieces and prep work once the break was over. Then I'd jump into comic work as soon as the first month was up. So here's some advice to new artists, especially those hoping to jump straight into comics. In order for breaks to help and to stick, you need to ease back into art. And I definitely recommend using this easing time to focus on your weak points. And what I mean by easing is taking it slow. Say that you just took a break from art for an entire week because you were feeling pretty burnt out and maybe your hand was hurting a little bit. This is going to be the time that you are going to need to probably take this week to maybe not just rest your hand, but maybe try some hand exercises that maybe you want to implement into your entire daily routine. Another recommendation is, of course, as I said before, working on the fundamentals. Using this easing point after the first week to do gesture work. Just gesture work, not figure drawings, trying to make them as loose as possible, very quick gestures that you're going to try and use your entire arm for, so that of course you don't get carpal tunnel. This is one of those things that you want to learn for doing art professionally, is how to use your entire arm so that you can implement your time more so that you can use your time to your fullest by drawing art as much as possible if it is your job. And the way that you do that is by making sure that your hand doesn't get carpal tunnel. And you do that by using your entire arm from your hand to your shoulder and not just your wrist. If you're just using your wrist, that's how you get carpal tunnel. And of course, finally, when you're easing, of course, you want to try and limit yourself. Do not jump straight into art and do 5 full pieces in that next week. Maybe ease up a little bit. Have maybe 2 days in this first week to just do those gestures that I was talking about. Just practice that flow again. Get back into that flow of doing art. Maybe do a couple mini portrait studies. Maybe do a couple OC things. But other than that, keep it simple and don't do too much. You're just trying to get back into the swing of things from your break. After that, maybe after even the first week, you would like to go into more of the stuff that you are seeing that you are weak on. Maybe you need to brush up on your expressions, your anatomy, your bones. Bone structures are very important and very nice to learn so that you understand what's going on underneath what you're drawing itself. And even then, working on muscle structure is also very important during this stuff. Maybe the project that you're working on taking a break from is one that involves animals. So maybe you need to brush up on different animals, maybe experimenting with how to stylize them in the way that you want to. I know that drawing animals has been a problem for me, and I'm definitely going to start trying to use that soon. Other than that, what you also should do during this time is try to draw more for yourself instead of for your project. Especially if this project is something you've been working on for a while. Try to back away from this project, and then ease back into drawing, and then ease back into that work as well. Maybe drawing the characters from it, maybe drawing a couple pieces of prep work that you need to do, maybe thumbnailing out some of the rest of the stuff for the project, and maybe a couple other things, but trying to keep it slow before you jump back into it. I always recommend starting a comic to anyone looking to improve. I've improved the most I have in years from doing my comic and experimenting with art. However, a comic is not the end-all be-all of art progression. You're going to need other areas to keep improving as well. For example, my comic helped me improve my expressions, poses, eventually, and backgrounds. And I have a lot of other areas that I still need to improve on, including animals, muscles, creature design, color theory, item drawing, and some more. Now, some of these things are stuff that you can actually put into your comic so that you can improve on them yourself with this project like the rest of the stuff that you're improving with your comic. But these areas are going to be a lot more of a conscious effort. There are going to be stuff in your comic that are going to be stuff that you're going to draw a lot, such as, of course, backgrounds, poses, and expressions. And sometimes, depending on what you're drawing, maybe you're also going to be able to put animals onto that list, or armor, or weapons, or items, or food, stuff like that. However, you are also going to want to have a conscious effort to improve other things with your comic. And this is done via experimentation. One of my favorite scenes is a black and white scene that goes from the normal colors to desaturated colors to pure black and white, to pure grayscale black and white. I've always hated drawing in black and white until doing this scene. This is the first time that I've experimented with no color at all, aside from realism. And now I do it quite a lot, This was also the first scene that I had experimented with color. And now I do it quite a lot to represent emotion, fear, flashbacks. To represent things like emotions, or even just fear and this is something that I use quite a lot now to represent emotion. using different scales of colors and bright colors or desaturated colors to represent a different emotion and feel that I want the readers to feel. Now, what does any of this have to do with burnout and taking breaks? Well, it's actually extremely simple. But before I explain, let's back up. When I was younger, I used to draw every day. Every second that I could, I was drawing. I have multiple memories of finishing tests early and drawing for the rest of the time. I'd take pictures and study them and try to replicate them. I'd engage in a lot of art YouTube, and so I was able to figure out the areas of my art that I wanted to improve. Doing figure drawings and gesture drawings, experimenting with color, shape, anatomy, and of course, I would always study my own hands when I didn't really know what else to draw. And I was able to strike a balance between drawing OCs and doing all this work to improve my art. I experimented a lot with style at this point because I didn't really know what I wanted my art to look like per se. But despite all the inconsistencies and experimentation, I was still having fun at the same time. I was developing my muscle memory and my visual library in a way that I am very thankful for today. Even if I actually go back and look at these and recognize that a lot of drawings weren't exactly very good, the drawings were still a foundation for the art that I have now, including my comic. And I did improve a lot because of it. The difference between now and then is simple as hell. Balance. Me working on my comic about 3 hours a day for 5 days a week, and then doing a couple other drawings once in a while is not balance. So in order to get back into art and the balance I used to have, I really need to put in an effort. I love my comic, but it's become a pretty painful process and a chore to even do right now. I love the story and I don't want to ditch it, but I am going to take it slow. But I am going to slow down. I have a lot of projects that I want to work on in the future, but I do want to work on my art fundamentals again. I have multiple unfinished paintings that I want to finish, and I'm hoping to bring you along the journey with me. I'm also starting animation college, so I need to slow down anyway. I have some animatics planned, but I also want to work on my art in general. And drawing a comic for 3 hours a day is not helping. I'm hoping to back off to about 1 hour a day and go back to posting once a month for now, so I can get my motivation back. I have a lot of projects I want to do, and I'm going to need to slow down first. And doing 3 comics a day is not my priority right now. Don't be like me. I'm dumb. I am a dumbass. Anyway, thank you so much for watching this little rant. I'm hoping to bring you on the journey of my art journey for the rest of this journey, or like my life, I guess. As mentioned, I have a lot of projects that I want to do, and you can read 9 Lives to date on Webtoon or on my own personal website, which will be linked in the description. Thank you guys so much for watching. Go back to your fundamentals, do some gesture drawings. I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.